Welcome to West Country Wanderings. Apologise for the traffic noise. Today I'm in Melksham in Wiltshire. Just arrived here by train on the Transwilts down from Swindon. Melksham is the 5th biggest town in Wiltshire after Swindon, Salisbury, Trowbridge and Chippenham. About 11,500 people that live here. But that's not the main purpose of my journey today. This is Melksham's bridge over the River Avon. That's the Wiltshire Avon, not the Stratford-upon-Avon Avon. And we're going to be walking to the village of Lacock for a very special event, a one-off event where a particular building is open, which is not normally open to the public. So why not join me for a tour here on West Country Wanderings in the village of Lacock. So I've just come out of the town centre of Melksham, following this delightful riverside walk. This is the River Avon, and we'll be going across that footbridge shortly, making our way following the floodplain of the river towards a hamlet of Lacock called Bewley. Formerly at Bewley there was a wharf, part of the Wilts and Berks Canal. Of course that's now redundant, hasn't yet been restored. Of course there are plans to restore the whole of it at some future point. We'll see what remains of that, and then we'll be heading into the village of Lacock. Melksham has a delightful marketplace. I went into that and they were getting ready to set up for the market stalls. I'll insert a clip of that roundabout now. It is quite busy with the traffic though, so it is quite difficult to film in the town itself. But anyway, we're going to continue on now towards Lacock. Yes, definitely a really cold one today. I think it's about 2 degrees, so it's frosty, below freezing, well below freezing I think actually overnight. So yeah, the hat stays on, probably on for possibly all day. Maybe the sun will come out and make an appearance later on. So this footpath out of the town of Melksham, we're still going through housing at the moment, follows the former line of the Wilts and Berks Canal, and it's called the Lost Water Walk of Melksham. And as you can walk through it, you can see, well, virtually nothing of the canal, no evidence of the canal, no humpback bridges that we're used to seeing, or dried up locks or anything like that at all. It's really virtually impossible to work out where the route was. I don't know if you can just see that ditch there just behind me looming out of the mist here on this very cold day here in the flat fields of Wiltshire just outside the village of Lacock. That there was actually the course of a Roman road, and just the other side there is an earthwork. I'll just insert a clip of the OS map now so you can see what I'm talking about. But yes, once there, went along there, perhaps some Roman centurions. I don't know which direction that would have been going to, so that'll be interesting. Perhaps it's not, I don't think it's Akerman Street, but anyway, I'm not sure. I'll have a look and see where this road, if I can, and I'll put it in the usual way below. But we're continuing our journey now through this kissing gate here and making our way towards the little hamlet, the name's just gone out of my head, across an ancient bridge and into the village. Now, I haven't done many pieces to camera on this walk so far because we've had ploughed fields with really, really deep furrows, making it really difficult walking terrain. Thankfully, it's mostly frozen, so it wasn't too muddy, but it was just very, very ridgy and undulating, making for quite tricky walking conditions. The other thing, of course, this mist, you can't see many views at all. Our River Avon is getting closer to us again, and not far from the road which goes into Lacock now. So, and the other reason I haven't filmed much is because of time. I've got a booked timed entry, Eventbrite, through the National Trust. It's free, but it's at 12 o'clock, so I need to press on to make sure I don't miss my time slot so I can show you the footage around the cottage. So here's our River Avon again, and we have actually come across this river before, and that was when I did the tour of the Wiltshire town of Malmesbury. In fact, the river rises just a few miles outside of that lovely town. And if you notice, you can see, I'll do a clip, that the river has a milky appearance to it. And Melksham actually gets its name, or the first part of it, ham obviously meaning hamlet, the milk bit actually comes from a derivative from an old English word meaning milk, and I think it was referring to what this lovely river looks like. So I've now come to a hamlet, if you like, of Lacock called Bewley Crescent. I think it's what it's called. Perhaps it's just called Bewley. It's marked as Bewley Crescent on the map, but there is a nearby manor house called Bewley. And here we have a fantastic bridge behind me. I don't know if I can find a date of that, but it's certainly a medieval looking bridge here in the Wiltshire Plains. There's lots of signs for car parks here, and you can tell that this venue is actually catered more for the motorists and people arriving by car than it is for people like me arriving by train and romping across fields that have been ploughed. It'd be nice to have a proper footpath between the two, although there is a bus service. I think it's every hour or so. I think it comes from Chippenham heading back to Melksham and beyond, I think. And yeah, so I'll be taking the bus back, so that gives me plenty of time to film around this most loveliest of villages here in Wiltshire. So the cottage we're about to explore around is one of the oldest and most complete cottages here in Lacock in Wiltshire, and it's number 2 in the High Street. I think it was formerly used as a post office, amongst many other uses as well, and we'll see, learn some more about it as we get the tour. But yeah, it's great coming here in mid-February because it's nice and quiet. I think next week is half term, so it's going to be a lot busier, but mid-February, midweek, outside of school holidays, it's a great place to come. Even got some robin just actually landed on the table, but as I pressed the shutter to start recording, he hopped off. But anyway, we'll have the tour around this lovely village.
That's not a very good image though, is it? I don't know whether you had a look at this space.
Yes, I did. Yes. I had.
The nice little stolen light above the door. Because if you have both these doors closed, of course, then there's
no light. Yes. So that
light
brings it through. Yes.
In the corner there is an example of the 19th century paper that they used on this wall. So you can have a look at that when you go out. This is probably the thinnest partition wall you'll ever see in your life.
Yes.
And it's interesting looking on the other side, because obviously it's been papered. But you can see that they chose any wood they could possibly find to create this partition wall, to the point that they couldn't even find or select wooden panels tall enough to go up to the ceiling. So they put in this ridiculous lattice work,
right,
with a thin bit of ply on the other side. And if you haven't been in there yet, go in, because there's a horizontal bracing piece of wood on the other side.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Cheers. Just come out of number 2, the High Street. Really fascinating tour. I've just come into the Stables Cafe, got myself an obligatory coffee, of course, and yeah, it's a really, really interesting place. It's now used as a holiday home, and the first room that I went in, which was like a small dining room, was actually Judi Dench's green room when she was in the drama Cranford, and also later in Downton Abbey, because many, many things have been filmed here at Lacock Abbey, including Harry Potter and the spin-off from Harry Potter, lots of other things. Wolf Hall was another one as well. And so that cottage had been used many times during filming. Most of the time, however, it is a holiday cottage, but because we're out of season now, they've decided to open it for a few days. It's usually open for about a week or so around this time of year, open again right at the very end of the season. One of the other interesting things I learned from the various volunteer guides that showed me around was that upstairs you can make out a cut in the floor. And the reason that cut was there is because next door there was a pub. There was several pubs in this village, and a lot of the workmen that worked on the Lacock estate here, they would at the end of the weekend get drunk. So the Temperance Society, trying to prevent the destitution with the families because they were spending all the money on the alcohol, they brought in a coffee bar, and that was what number 2, the High Street, was used for a period of time. It didn't go down that well because the men still thought that the beer was better than the coffee. I prefer the coffee, but there we go. And so they thought they would bring in an additional bit of attraction as well as it just being for coffee. And they decided to bring in a bagatelle machine. And I'll insert an image of what a bagatelle machine is, but this was the mother of all bagatelle machines. I'm not sure where they bought it from, but when they got it here to Lacock, they then realised that they couldn't actually get it inside of the house. So they had to dig a hole, bring a cutaway, so they could bring it upstairs to where they wanted to put it into what is now the solar room. I think it was of limited access, but more successful when they were just serving coffee on its own. But yes, if you ever get a chance to have a tour of number 2 here, really, really knowledgeable guides. It does open out into a shop, and you have those crooked arches as well. That was the main structure of the design, and they chose the arches from branches probably from Melksham Forest. There was an extensive forest to the east of the town of Melksham, and they probably would have got the trees from there, but you can see all the gnarled work. In fact, some of the branches are in there, the arches, the woodwork, you can see that it's actually been smoked, because originally, not now because of the fireplace has been moved, they would have had a central fireplace, and all that smoke would have gone right up through into the middle of the building and stained the woodwork. There was the frame, the timber frame of the building. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to have some lunch chill out here for a bit. And the sun's come out now, isn't that terrific? We're going to have a further walk around the village, have a look at the church, and then we're going to have a look at the photography museum here too. Well, that museum photography was absolutely superb, and it's amazing to think that back in 1835 the first image was taken right next door in Lacock Abbey. Unfortunately the Abbey is closed at the moment, so I couldn't show you the window itself, but it gives you a flavour of what it was like. And of course there was that battle, wasn't there, between Fox Talbot and daguerre to see who could come up with the first photograph. It was Henschel who actually christened it the negative. I wasn't aware of that. He, of course, from the astronomy, his friend Henschel. And when he saw the reversal process, black becomes white, white becomes black, to produce that negative, which then went on to produce the first black and white print. Really exciting stuff. Probably wouldn't have YouTube without what happened here all those years ago here at Lacock in Wiltshire. But yeah, it's a fantastic museum. I really particularly enjoyed all the selections of the cameras throughout the ages, from the 19th century right up through the 20th, and touching on the current cameras that we have in the 21st century, of course, and see how cameras have changed, but essentially still what they're doing, doesn't matter how technical a camera is, it's using light to capture that image and holding that image forever, or hopefully forever, in time. And I always find that concept really, really exciting, and that's what really I love about photography and videography, of just capturing that time, which will never be replicated twice. So this is Lacock Abbey. The inside of it isn't open today. They're actually doing some work on preparing for the big new season. So this is the Botanic Garden. We'll go in and have a closer look. I've also enjoyed the lovely tour of the gardens here, particularly the snowdrops and the light. When I started off that walk from Melksham this morning, we had very, very misty conditions, and thankfully the sun's come out, so you have the shadows of the trees, beautiful snowdrops, beautiful landscape here. We haven't got all of the spring flowers out, of course, yet, but there are many, many signs of springs coming up through, with the bulbs pipping through the soil. Tremendous grounds around the outside of the gardens. I hadn't actually realised how big the grounds were here at Lacock Abbey. So you do have to pay to come into the museum and the grounds, even though the abbey itself isn't open today. I think for non-National Trust members it's £11, around about that, £11.50 or something like that. That's excluding a gift aid donation. What I'm going to do now is do a photo tour of Lacock Village, just some of the stills and video clips that I've captured here on my visit today. It's been fairly quiet to be able to get around the village and capture some of the essence of this lovely village here in the heart of Wiltshire. Hope you enjoy. Well, that's it for now on West Country Wanderings. Hope you the tour of Lacock here in the heart of Wiltshire. I certainly did. I particularly enjoyed the photography museum. Of course, yeah, you knew I would with being interested in photography since I was, you know, really young. And it's fantastic to go around that house, number 2, the High Street as well. Like you had like a behind the scenes tour of seeing the fabric of the building, how it was constructed. I really enjoyed that too. And of course, the village itself has a wonderful atmosphere here too, and the fantastic gardens. If you've been here yourselves, I'd love to know what you think. Please drop a comment below. You can also do that on my Facebook group, which is also called West Country Wanderings. Till next time on the channel, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you very, very soon. All the best for now. Bye-bye.